right, you guys, what's going on? So, I wanted to get a quick stream in before I shut it down for the morning, night, whatever you want to call it. So, I got back from Fresno a couple of hours ago, went to cover the top rank event. Um, but I did get a chance to catch Caleb Plant versus David Benavides. I was doing the double duty. I'm gonna talk about Jose Ramirez, and I'm gonna talk about Caleb Plant. I didn't see the fight with Chris Colbert and Rio. I didn't get to see that, so I'm pretty sure when they show a rebroadcast, I get to see that fight. But nevertheless, as far as David Benavides go, I think David Benavides uh, proved that he belongs in the top 10 pound per pound discussion, because at the end of the day, this was a fight that he had to make adjustments. And I mean, he pretty much took what Caleb Plant gave him. I mean, keep in mind, Caleb Plant had that metamorphosis ring, that 22 by 22 foot ring, which was a very big ring. And unfortunately, Caleb Plant has a stamina problem. And you've seen that in quite a bit of his fights now, that he seems to tire after this, towards the latter fight of, the latter end of the fight, where basically he gets tired and he starts to fade out. And David Benavides, what he did is he saw something when he landed that right, and he saw how it affected Caleb Plant. He was like, okay. I think had they been a smaller ring, I think David Benavides would have got a stoppage earlier. Because at the end of the day, Caleb Plant was on his bicycle a lot, trying to land, body shots, and he wasn't sitting on his punches like he tried to do with Darrell. But that seemed to be his Achilles heel. He started to tire, and then David Benavides started to walk him down. David Benavides looked like he was on the verge of getting a stoppage. He beat Caleb Plant down. He controlled pretty much the whole entire second half of the fight. Some people said they wasn't impressed with his performance, but I was impressed with his performance. Like I said, he took what Caleb Plant gave him. And I think when Caleb Plant started to get hit, he started to have flashbacks of the Canelo fight, and that's why he was doing that extensive holding, in which you could have made an argument that Kenny Bayless should have took a point away from Caleb Plant. But he didn't do it, and a lot of people is, basically complaining about the officiating. But nevertheless, the right guy won the fight. The right guy won the fight, and that was David Benavides. Now the question is Canelo willing to get in the ring with David Benavides? Keep in mind, you got to remember, styles make fights. Styles make fight. Canelo is not going to ask for a 22 by 22 foot ring, and Canelo's not going to be on his bicycle like that. David Benavides' style is bad for Canelo. That's the style that Canelo does not favor. That's totally wrong style for Canelo, and that's why many people believe that David Benavides and Canelo, if they was to fight, in all likelihood, Benavides would beat Canelo. Reach, decent body punching, and he can make adjustments now, and he's proven that he could take a punch. So that's just a bad style matchup for Canelo. I don't like that fight for Canelo. But at the same time, well, Canelo, what is he going to do afterwards after John Ryder? because there's gonna be pressure on him to fight David Benavidez, and I feel like he should give David Benavidez his shot. David Benavidez deserves it. Let him have his shot. Keep in mind, when David Benavidez had the belt, you didn't want to go nowhere near him, and then as soon as they stripped him of the title, then all of a sudden you petitioned to fight for the title. Canelo, which that came across as a weak move. Came across as a weak move. But I'm sure Canelo is watching that fight. If he hasn't seen it, he's watching that fight or watched that fight. He's like, wow, jeez. Now, let's just hope that the WBC, Mauricio Sullivan, does the right thing and they order that fight. That they mandatory, Canelo to fight Benavidez. It would be a big fight. It would be a big fight. But Mauricio Sullivan is consistent at being inconsistent. So, you never know. You just never know with that guy. Now, I got a chance to talk to the people at Top Rank. I talked to some people. Devin Haney versus Lomachenko is going to happen. I'm not going to say who it was that told me, but he knows. And I asked him flat out. I said, what's up with Devin Haney and Lomachenko? And he was like, oh, it's going to happen. He said it should get announced sometime this week. And it was funny. I said, so where am I going? Am I going to Saudi Arabia or Las Vegas? And he looked at me like I was nuts. He said the fight is going to be in Las Vegas. I think it's going to be at the MGM Grand. I think it's going to be at the MGM Grand, but it will be in Las Vegas, May the 20th. So none of this, which I told you it wasn't. I told you that Saudi Arabia thing was just was cap. Well, it was some things that had to get worked out. It looks like this fight is headed, and this came from the Top Rank people themselves. They gotta wait for some stuff to happen, but it should be done and announced sometime this week. But it is going down May the 20th in Las Vegas. Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, which that's a fight I'm gonna be looking forward to covering. That's gonna be a great fight. I like this fight. I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight. So, but just wanted to let you guys know it should get announced. It should get announced this week. But it's going down May the 20th, and it's gonna be at it's looking like it, from my knowledge, it's looking like it's gonna be at the MGM Grand. So now you can start planning, if you're going to be there in attendance, to come through. But yeah, I'm glad that we're going to get this fight. As far as as far as Jose Ramirez versus Richard Hammy is a good fighter, but he's not a very skillful fighter. He's not a very skillful fighter. Don't fight good off the back foot. Isn't very good on defense. Doesn't use a lot of feints. Doesn't know. He has a lot of flaws. He just one of those instinct fighters. He just, tries to get in front of you and try to tee off and hope that, things go in his favor, because he's not, and he's he's an entertaining fighter. Him and Jose Jose Ramirez, they put on a show. And I could say this about Jose Ramirez. Say what you want to say about him, whether you think he's an elite fighter or whatever the case may be. He know how to bring people to that stadium because it was a decent crowd at the Save Mark Arena in Fresno. He know how to sell tickets, and he can, people were saying, "Oh, ain't nobody gonna be there. Everybody gonna be at that. Gonna be at, Benavidez versus Caleb Plant," and that wasn't the case. It was quite a bit of people there. So Jose Ramirez proved that he got drawing power. And he said that he's willing to fight Regis Prograis. He told me that during the press conference. I asked him, and he was basically saying that, he wanted certain type of money. And he said that, he gonna take the political stuff out the way, and he said he just gonna contact Bob, and they gonna try to see can they make a fight, or he'll get the winner out of Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor, and that fight is going down in June. So that seems to be his plan. He said, he wanted to be properly compensated for certain fights. Regis, that's going to be a very difficult fight for Jose Ramirez. One thing about Jose Ramirez, he just likes to slug it out. Jose Ramirez, he's not ever going to be a guy that use good footwork and, try to, slip punches. That's just not his thing. He's just a pressure fighter, and he just like to, dish out a lot of punishment, and at the same time be taking some punishment, because he got hit with some shots by Kami. He got hit with some shots that would have at least dropped quite a few people. But yeah, I was just looking. I was just watching Jose Ramirez fight. Like I said, Jose Ramirez is a nice guy, but he will struggle against pure boxers. He'll struggle. He'll struggle against Devin Haney. He will struggle against Tank. He just will struggle against guys like that. And that's just the honest to God truth. And like I said, Jose Ramirez is a nice guy, but I just gotta keep it a buck. Let's just say worst case scenario, which would be best case scenario for us, if he did fight Regis. I don't like that fight for Jose Ramirez, and I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't like that fight. That would be interesting. But it's really gonna be up to Top Rank. I don't know if Regis is still with the PBC, because his last fight didn't have nothing to do with the PBC. So could they put him in the ring with some people? You would, I don't know. You know how this works. We would have to see. But anyway, appreciate you guys listening. I'll be back with some more later on.